Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Arsenal Transfer Room Live. It is a Monday evening and we are talking about a centre-back that could be on his way to Arsenal if they get their way. Plenty of other things to talk about as well. Everyone is saying Orny. Everyone's saying Orny. We've got a bomber as we go live. This is incredible scenes. Literally as we speak, the whole chat is kicking off. What is it? What is the Ornstein bomber? What a way to start. Stuttgart pursuing a deal to sign Fabio Vieira from Arsenal. 25-year-old attacking midfielder spent last season on loan at Porto, but Stuttgart approach relates to a permanent move. No agreement, but talks with Arsenal ongoing for the Portugal international. Well, there we go. There we go. Literally, a segment of the show was going to be about why we can't make any sales, and we might be making progress on one of them. One of the more important ones, in fairness, a player that we should actually be able to get some decent money for. So there you go. And iHeats has kicked off the stream with 5 gifted memberships. iHeats, thank you very, very much. Absolute legend. Anyone that has just been gifted by iHeats, please do make sure to thank him in the chat. You now, of course, have a red cannon next to your name and access to the exclusive Rory Talks Football memes. So congratulations to you. We were just introing the show. So welcome. I hope you're all doing well on this Monday. I hope you all had a good weekend. There was no content on the channel over the weekend. So it's good to be back. And we'll get cracking. We will get cracking. If you're not already subscribed, please could I just ask you to subscribe? We're on the way to 23,000 subscribers. And all of you here, if you could just click that like button, I would be incredibly grateful. It massively helps the streams. Nid has been a member for 12 months. It's our anniversary, Nid. Congratulations. I hope UK, all the calling you names and rage baits are just for pure fun and nothing else. It comes across as that. Love to see the channel grow. I hope you're okay. I don't know what you mean, Nid, but we're all good. And I appreciate it. Love to see the channel grow. It is all pure fun. It is always pure fun. It's fun and games. Congratulations as well, Nid. India with a hard-fought victory today. And a draw was probably the fair result in the series. Sorry. So it says, I hope you know all of the calling you names and rage bets. Yes. Don't worry, Nid. I don't think you actually hate me. But I appreciate it. Hand of Arsenal reposted something relating to Fabio Vieira like a week ago. I'm convinced he's Andrea Berta. Possibly. Yeah, you're all correct. You're all correcting me now. Sorry, I'm not caught up with the slang. I apologize. Showing my unk status once again. Surely you know would be YK though, right? Surely it'd be YK. Who am I to say? Nid, by the way, you should have with 12 months under your belt, you should have unlocked a new little badge next to your name as well. So congratulations for that. When are we getting the collab with Different Knocking Yourself? You'll have to ask Alex. To be fair, I went on the Canon podcast with James at some point, but listen, I'm waiting. What's Fabio Vieira worth? I'm actually not sure. By the way, let me just very quickly update the title of the stream so that people know that we're talking about that as well. Apologies for doing this on the go, but I don't have it. I've got no choice. How do you even... It's double T, isn't it, in the middle of Stuttgart? Oh... we've gone over the character limit. What characters can I even take out of this sentence? We'll do that. There we go. We've updated the title. Apologies for that. You've had to watch me work. JB, thank you very much for the membership. Welcome to the Rory Talks Football YouTube membership club. Enjoy your red cannon. Enjoy the memes that you have unlocked. And thank you very, very much for the support on the channel. Honestly, everyone that's a member, all of it goes back into this channel, and it does massively help me out. So I do appreciate you. When will you be buying the Eucharist kit? It's already done. It is. Jakob Olofsson, if you are watching, right, we've been waiting for this day. Jakob Olofsson, he was the one that paid for it. An incredible 2 donations he gave to pay for the third kit with Victor Gyökeres on the back. We've done it. Short sleeve, not long sleeve. I'm not a long sleeve. I just don't wear long sleeve football shirts. So I've gone short sleeve. We've not gone for the Premier League font because the Premier League font is in black and it looks rubbish. So we've got the Arsenal font, which is the right colour. Even put gone for the Champions League badge on the arm. So yeah, shout out to Jakob Olofsson because he paid for that one, and I'm very grateful for it. 30 mil for Fabio Vieira. Is that confirmed or is that just you throwing out a number? Has someone said 30 mil? Or is that just guesswork? AFC Camden put 30 mil minimum, but I don't know if he's got any. Anyway, look, ultimately, if we can get him off the books for 20 to 30 million, I think that's worthwhile. I do think that's worthwhile. Are you getting the new football crop tops? No. No, I won't be getting a crop top. Maybe I should do that as a forfeit. Maybe that should be like, if Arsenal don't win a trophy this season, maybe I should turn that into a TikTok video, to be fair. If Arsenal don't win a trophy this season, I'll buy the crop top and wear it to the first game next season. Maybe I'll do that. One day I'll see a game at the Carpet. Hopefully. I'll be there Wednesday night. We're back on Wednesday evening. Oh, cannot wait. Cannot wait to be back on Wednesday evening. Even though it's a friendly, it'll just be good to be back. New kit absolutely fucks. Might buy it. It's a gem. The new third kit is genuinely, absolutely beautiful. If Brighton don't get European football, I think Brighton will get European football, to be honest. Which block are you in? Genuinely couldn't tell you, to be honest. I can't remember. I'm behind one of the goals. I can't remember if I'm Clock End or North Bank. I'll be there on Wednesday night as well. Can't wait for the third kit debut. Apparently, we're not wearing the third kit. Apparently, we're not wearing the third kit in either of the friendlies, which is crazy. We see the third kit so rarely anyway, and apparently they're not even going to wear it in either of those 2 friendly games, which is nuts. Oh, that's the forfeit. That's the forfeit. Ordered the third kit to Vegas this morning. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Arsenal are going to put a pretty big dent in my bank account this season. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, thankfully, Jakob Olofsson has paid for this one. Did we buy Calafiori just to use him in adverts? Got more minutes on TV than the pitch. I mean, he is a fantastic model. Yeah, you got to say he is a fantastic model. Thoughts on T. Piddy to Villarreal? Apparently, their fans have been protesting. I was shocked. I didn't even realize he'd be allowed out of the country, to be honest with you. I thought once he'd been charged, that he wouldn't be allowed out of the country. So, yeah, very, very shocked about that one. Devin, thank you very, very much for being a member for 16 months. Hey, Rory, just came to say Calafiori in the third kit might be too much. Can't handle someone that attractive in that sexy kit. I mean, fair enough, Devin. Fair enough. But, Devin, I do appreciate the 16 months. You are rocking one of the elite badges next to your name. And it is much appreciated. I love the Lookman links. Cheap, more left wing than midfielder. Exactly the opposite of Eze. Gives us room to look for a more expensive option next summer, like Barcola, who I believe will be available later. Have we been credibly linked to Lookman yet, though? I'm not sure that we have been credibly linked to Lookman yet. But whatever is happening at Inter and with Atalanta and Inter is a car crash. So Atalanta's president or whatever he is has come out today and basically said, we had an agreement with Lookman last summer. They rejected 20 million euros from PSG last summer for Lookman. And they had an agreement with Lookman. Next summer, you can leave if it is for a big club that is not in Italy. And that's where they're coming back. It's once again another example of these stupid, in my opinion, gentlemen's agreements. They called this one a pact. We had a pact. There's no such thing. There's no such... No one... The people at Atalanta do not care about a gentleman's agreement or a pact if it's going to cost them an extra 5-10 million quid. I wish players would stop falling into these pacts. and these gentlemen's agreements. Now, in this case, it actually sounds like Atalanta have got a fair point. If it was genuinely agreed that he could leave, but not to another big Italian team, then they're kind of, I actually don't even think they're being unreasonable in that sense. But yeah, I've not really seen any proper links. I saw, I think Tom Canton did an article in Football London about it, but I don't think that was like a legitimate link. I think it was a, he's an option that could be available. Gentlemen's agreement's honestly ridiculous. Yeah, it's a waste of time. This summer has been a really bad summer for those gentlemen's agreements as well. You had the Gyökeres one. I mean, whatever's happened with Sesko at Leipzig, that's just a car crash. I am so glad we are not in the whole Sesko race. Like, if we had genuinely held out to try and land Sesko, it would have been a mess. Like, they've had an offer now of 75 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons, and they still want more. They want a sell-on clause, which is crazy. And Sesko himself still hasn't even decided. That's the mad thing. So Newcastle think they can offer an amount that Leipzig will accept, but they still don't know if Sesko will even accept it if they do. And then on the other hand, it seems like Sesko probably would accept a move to Manchester United, but Manchester United probably aren't going to bid more than Newcastle. So Leipzig are in a position where they don't want to accept an offer from Man United because they know that they can get more from Newcastle. But then Sesko might only want to go to United, which is it's such a mess. Seems like Sesko has a weak mentality. I agree. To opt to go to Manchester United instead of a Champions League club, yeah. Look, I think we've done well to not be in the situation of still trying to get him. We wouldn't even have him for Leeds at this point. Yeah, it's nuts. We're what? Like, I mean, technically, the Premier League starts in 11 days. It starts next Friday. Not this Friday coming, but next Friday. That's the opening game of the season. We're nearly there. So, yeah, I think we have done the right thing. I still think we need to bring in another forward signing, and hopefully we do. But can't believe Rob Holding was starting in a Prem run-in, and fans gave it to us. Now he's a bench rider in the MLS. By the way, yeah, genuinely, I was watching as well the other day, actually, randomly, the game against City in 22-23, the away game when they battered us, frankly. And we had Rob Holding at centre-back. And the one thing that was so noticeable was the amount of work Gabriel was doing. Gabriel was basically operating as both centre-backs. Like, it was insane watching that back. And yeah, you're right. Like, the fact that back then people convinced us that not having Saliba and having to have Rob Holding instead was like not an excuse. And then he played what? Like, how many times did he play for Crystal Palace? Like 5 times maybe, if that. And now he's gone to the MLS. It's crazy. Do you think we will sign Eze or a left winger before the United game? I don't think we will. We're just not credibly being linked to any of them. We're still waiting for Crystal Palace's Court of Arbitration for Sport hearing. So we still don't know. Like, this is crazy, right? Palace have been drawn in their Conference League group today. The draw for the Conference League was today. And Palace have been drawn in theirs. And they still don't even know if that's the competition they're going to be in. And so it's like their fans, they're looking at away games in Denmark that they might not know until 2 weeks before the game if that game is still going to be happening. Which is nuts. You've got something on your name. What is it? I'm not sure. Is it true that Eze's release clause was already passed? Well, I'm not sure. So Fabrizio had said, we said it in the last stream. Let me go back to it. We said in the last stream, yeah. So in the last stream, according to Fabrizio, the release clause. Oh, you've got a crown, Smithy, for contributing. Fabrizio said the release clause expired on Friday, right? So we said that in the last stream that the release clause was expiring on Friday. However, I've heard some people say that's not true, including Ollie Talks CPFC, who I'm sure many of you know. He is certain that the release clause hasn't yet expired. So I don't actually know if it has or not. I understand Sesko, though. He might not be able to bench Jacob Murphy. It's crazy. It is crazy. Hand of Arsenal said it has. Well, we will trust Hand of Arsenal. Where is the third kit? It's en route. It's been ordered. I am awaiting its delivery. Did you see Madrid's 90 minutes in the Bernabeu was very long kit? Genuinely, if you've not seen this, Real Madrid's third kit, as we're talking about third kits, has stitched into it, in Spanish, obviously, not in English. Yeah, 90 minutes at the Bernabeu is a very long time, or whatever it is. How cringe is that? People talk about Arsenal being cringe, and I get it, right? It's Real Madrid. They've won everything. They are the most decorated club. Fine. But off the back of a season where you were saying it about Arsenal, and Arsenal rocked up at the Bernabeu with Mikel Merino up top and won, and you were saying it, I think they said it about Barcelona as well and got smoked. Like, it's cringe. It is cringe. iHeats has gifted another 5 memberships. That's 10 gifted memberships from iHeats. Unbelievable support. Thank you very, very much, iHeats. If you've just been gifted a membership by iHeats, please do make sure to thank him in the chat. That is unbelievable support. I really do appreciate that. You do not have to be that kind. Real is obsessed. They are indeed. They are indeed. Not a long time for Barca and Arsenal. Exactly. Look, let's talk about the original headline of the stream, which is Jeremy Jacquet. Actually, is anyone French in the chat? Can you tell me how to pronounce this? Is it Jacquet or Jacquet? Anyone French in the chat? Or anyone that knows the French language? Is it Jacquet or is it Jacquet? If it's Jacquet, type A. If it's Jacquet, type T. And we'll get to the bottom of it. I'd like to see us try and play Ødegaard left 8 with Waneri right 8. It's definitely possible in certain games. It's why I think we could see Eze and Ødegaard, right? But I think in other games, it would be slightly too offensive. We'd be leaving Jacquet. Okay, the majority of people are saying A. There's a few people saying T. Second one without the T. Okay, Jacquet. I did think so. That was my gut feeling was Jacquet. So I'm glad we cleared that up. Anyway, this is what is happening with Jeremy Jacquet. Fabrizio Romano said, understand Arsenal already made an approach for Jeremy Jacquet as a new defender in case of an exit to Zinchenko or Kivior. Rene considered the defender not for sale this summer after extending his contract in May. So he did sign a brand new deal in May for 4 years until 2029, which obviously makes it a little bit more difficult to do. Arsenal remain keen on Jacquet, also eventually for 2026. Sami Mokbel said Arsenal have an interest in Jacquet. Sources have told the BBC not to rule out a swoop for the 20-year-old during this transfer window. If a deal for Jacquet does not transpire ahead of the current deadline, Arsenal will continue to monitor the player's progress ahead of a possible future move. Now, on that basis, in terms of a possible future move, that's got vibes of Jorel Hato over it again. But it's just an interesting one because especially where Fabrizio's talking about in case of an exit to Zinchenko or Kivior, Jacquet is a right-footed right centre-back who's played a bit of right-back, certainly not a left-sided player. So it is interesting. Isaki, thank you very, very much for the 249. Did you already cover Ornstein's Vieira to Stuttgart? I did at the start. We will talk about it a little bit more later in the stream because I have got a section on generally just the way our sales are going. So we will talk about it again. But yeah, we did mention it at the start. Another defender? Yes, another defender. So it's interesting because he's young, right-sided. If we'd not done Mosquera, right, I think this would have made sense. Now, obviously, part of the reaction is like, oh my God, we need an attacker. We need Eze. Why are we going for a centre-back? I get it. If we do lose Zinchenko and or Kivior, we probably do need another defender again, especially if it's Kivior. The one thing that this makes me think, though, there's a few options, right? But if you brought him in and you lost Kivior, so Fabrizio has actually said, understand Jakub Kivior's future remains open with several clubs keen on signing the centre-back. Arteta would prefer to keep Kivior, and Arsenal have already rejected a proposal from Portugal in July. Up to the player with a desire to play more as a possible factor, right? So we could lose Jakub Kivior. According to Santi Jauna, someone's actually just put it in the chat. According to Santi Jauna, Arsenal turned down a formal bid from Porto for Jakub Kiwior. The proposal was a loan with an obligation to buy for 27 million euros, which was rejected last week. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. 27 million euros, and not even now, but next year. We get mugged off. We get mugged off. How? How can you come in with it? What's that, like 23 million quid? Less than what we paid for him when we've developed him and proven that he can compete against Real Madrid in the Champions League, that he can compete at the top level in the Premier League. This is what I'm saying. And we're not, well, we've rejected it, which is the good thing, right? We've rejected it, but we get mugged off. That's less than Chelsea are selling Kiernan Dewsbury Hall to Everton for today. How does this happen? It's so frustrating. He should be going for significantly more than that. Significantly more than that. But it is possible that he does get sold. And if he does, then you need a replacement. Now, if the replacement is Jeremy Jacquet, and he's a right-footed right centre-back, plays at right-back, that leaves the defence imbalanced, in my opinion, right? If you look at it, you leave yourself in a situation where you've got White, Timber, Saliba, Mosquera, Jacquet, all as right-sided right centre-back / right-backs. And on the left, you've got Gabriel, Calafiori, Miles Lewis-Skelly. All right, Zinchenko, if you want to include him. But it's basically a 5-3 split on the right and the left. And that makes me think that one of those players on the right ends up being considered as a player on the left. That could be Saliba as a left centre-back. It could be Mosquera as a left centre-back. But I think it's more likely that it's Timber as our left-back. And I said this morning, because I think a lot of us have found it difficult to pick between Ben White and Jurriën Timber. I think there's a fair argument that actually, right now, they're our two best fullbacks. It wouldn't surprise me at all, certainly in games where we want to lock up a right winger, if we ended up seeing Timber at left back and Ben White at right back. So that's maybe how you explain it. Emilio, thank you very, very much for being a member for 2 months. Realistically, how much would he play this season? Also, big up the community. Well, that is the other factor. Are you talking about Kiwior or Jeremy Jacquet? If you're talking about Jeremy Jacquet, it's actually possible we could buy him and send him out on loan, right? It's possible we do a Saliba type move where we bring him in and then send him out on loan to continue developing, which I wouldn't be against at all, right? You look back, maybe if we'd done that with Joel Hatto, we could have landed him. But yeah, Jacquet. Yeah, that could be the option. That could be the option. We need to keep Kiwior. Yeah, but if Kiwior wants to leave, if Kiwior's looking at it again, realistically, right, until Gabriel got injured last season, Kiwior barely played at all. The only times Kiwior has had significant game time for Arsenal is when we've literally had no choice. So last year, Gabriel got injured. He played at left centre-back. The season before that, all of our left-backs were injured. Like, he doesn't really get to play unless there are significant injuries. And he might be looking at it in a World Cup year. I assume Poland to qualify for the World Cup. He might be looking at it going, if there aren't injuries, I'm not going to play much next season, and I want to play. Kiwior left back's a reasonable option. Never been that impressed with him there, personally. Arsenal should go for a youngster that has potential for the wingers. Someone who's direct and explosive. I don't disagree. Is Calafiori fit? Yeah, he's going to be fit enough to start the season. I don't know if he'll be there on Wednesday night. It will be interesting to see who plays on Wednesday night. Arteta said that Gabriel, Timber, and Calafiori should all be fit to start the season, so hopefully they are. Are Poland going to the World Cup? I don't actually know. I assume so, right? We haven't even finished qualifying yet, have we? Chelsea signs a player and don't play him and then sells him for profit. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's frustrating. Is Trossard fit? No idea. No idea if Trossard's fit. He's another one, though. If we're looking at selling him, you're not going to rush him to play and risk him getting injured and then not being able to sell him. Dalman played a lot of right wing. Is that where you see him? Not long term, but short term. In the same way that Waneri played off the right last season. It's the safe way to bring them into the squad. I think long term, he'll be Ødegaard. Long term, that will be his position. But playing in midfield is a lot more physically demanding, and it's safer. Yeah, World Cup qualifiers aren't done. I was yapping. I don't know how Poland are doing in their World Cup qualifiers, but yeah, I think Dalman, we'll see him off the right. It's a more protected spot. Looks like we'll sell Vieira to Stuttgart, Trossard to Brentford before moving for Eze. I hope that's not the end, and we bring in a left wing. Trossard to Brentford's an interesting one. Where's that link come from? I don't think I've seen the Trossard to Brentford link before. We need to buy a secondary club. I agree. I really think we will start Madueke on the left on Wednesday. Arteta must have learned that. We can't be playing Leo and Gabby on the left. Possibly. So I may as well say it now, to be fair. It was in one of the extras bits. But yeah, Noni Madueke has cut his holiday short, and he is returning to training with Arsenal this week. A big week in the club's preseason preparations with 2 friendlies at the Emirates, and Madueke is eager to hit the ground running. So yeah, to be fair to him, credit to him, he was literally forced to go on holiday. He actually didn't want to go on holiday. He was forced to go on holiday, but he has cut the holiday short by a week. So he will be returning. Well, he's returned today. So whether or not we see him in Wednesday's game might come a little bit too early. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw him on Saturday, though. Wouldn't surprise me. And you're right. I think we could see him playing off the left. I think we could. I saw a graphic today, which was pretty interesting, actually, right? Of the most effective forwards in the Premier League last season. And it was basically the number of touches per shot and per something pass, like a useful pass. What's the word that I'm looking for? Key pass, right? So the number of touches that they take per key pass and per shot, which is basically like how direct they are. Bukayo Saka, number 1. Ranked number 1 on that list of every player in the Premier League. None of our other forwards ranked in the top like 15 or 20. Martinelli was a fair way down, Trossard even further. But interestingly, Salah was 2, Noni Madueke was 3, Palmer was 4, and Eze was 5. So we've gone from having number 1, but then no one else anywhere near it, to having number 1, number 3, and possibly going for number 5. And I think that tells you in itself, Arteta wants us to be more direct. Arteta wants, and if you looked at Gyökeres compared to probably any forward in Europe, I would imagine that his number is very high on that list as well. So we're definitely going more direct. You saw it when we've been playing the preseason friendlies. We've been more direct in terms of going long. We're trying to get things done more quickly. Timber right back, Calafiori left back for the match at Old Trafford. Not to be negative, but Miles Lewis-Skelly in preseason hasn't been as sharp as when he broke in. I don't disagree. I do think Miles Lewis-Skelly has been... I don't think he's been bad. I do agree that he's not been perhaps at his best. The worry, I suppose, is Calafiori going to be fit enough? Is Timber going to be fit enough? Timber's the one. I don't think Timber will start at Old Trafford. He had ankle surgery. Like, he's the one that is actually actively coming back from injury, like, as we speak. Arteta said he wants to change the system to fit Gyökeres. That's why it was so fast. Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit as well with some of the stuff later on. But yeah, look, wrapping up Jacquet and Kivior and that whole situation, not a priority. There are a lot of people, Ben Mattinson I always refer to, very, very interested in Jacquet. Actually, he tweeted before, in terms of replacements for Tomiyasu, he mentioned both Mosquera and Jacquet. So that's pretty interesting. We'll see how it develops. It's another one of those ones. I don't think Arsenal will be doing it instead of Eze. No one sat there going, right, we can either get a 5th choice right centre-back or we can get Eze. Let's get the 5th choice right. That's not how it works. It's a friendly. I'd rather be relaxing in the friendly and the old MLS when the season starts. Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't think he's been bad by any stretch, by the way. I really don't. Do you think we sign Eze and a dedicated left wing after sales? No. I can only see us doing one of them. And personally, I'd actually prefer it was the dedicated left wing, but it seems like it's more likely to be Eze if we can pull it off. Have you seen what happened to Hand of Arsenal? What? No. What happened to Hand of Arsenal? What? I don't know. I don't. Does anyone know what this is referencing? Champions League final, everyone's fit. Which fullbacks are you starting? Honestly, don't know. Honestly, don't know. I think it really depends how this season goes, to be honest. I think right now it probably would be White and Timber. It's the safest option, I think, defensively. But then Calafiori, like, I feel like if Calafiori was able to stay fit properly for long enough, I think he'd be number one for it. In the bottom left of the screen, it looks like big breadsticks. Why? What do you mean? I don't know if I can see that on my screen. Rumors that Rodrigo wants to stay with Madrid. Yeah, but it's well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Rodrigo in ages. Yeah, Porto bid 27 million euros, which is a joke. Hand of Arsenal's taking a little break. Yeah, basically, he's just. I mean, to be fair, there's not even much news for him to talk about anyway. So, depends on the final opponents. Yeah, that's also true. That is also true. Some of the other extras from today. So I found this interesting. Gunnerblog did a good article. I'd recommend going and reading it. Your face cam area, bottom left of that. Oh, right. I don't know. I can't really see that on my screen. Strange. Yeah, Gunnerblog said one of the Arsenal 11s in training had Gyökeres up front. The other had Kai Havertz up front. It was striking to see the difference in style. While Havertz dropped deep into midfield looking to link up play, Gyökeres hovered around the last line of defence looking to make runs in behind. And I do think this is where it's not going to be a case of trying to get Gyökeres to play Havertz's way or to play the way that Havertz, Jesus, pretty much every centre-forward we've had for a while has played. And Arteta himself has said that we will have to play differently to suit Victor Gyökeres. So I think that is quite interesting. But equally, in certain games, it may well suit us to play more with a Kai Havertz style of centre-forward. And having the two different options... Oh, sorry. You're talking about this. Wait, where's my hand? You're talking about these. It's the top of the dog's teepee. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, now I know what you're talking about. It's the top of the dog's. The dog has a teepee, and that's the top of it. So, yeah, now I know what you're talking about. It's the most logical way to help Gyökeres settle in the league with smooth transition. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm excited. I think people that used the 15 minutes against Tottenham to try and form a judgment of Gyökeres, idiots, to be honest with you. But no, I did find that interesting from Gunnerblog. Also, James Ollie did a good article as well. And he said sources have said that Sporting proved very difficult negotiators, but Andrea Berta showed his value in getting Gyökeres over the line and impressed Arsenal's key decision makers, who believe him to be every bit the top executive that they had hoped they had landed. Some senior figures at the club joke that Berta never seems to sleep. His work ethic has surprised even those who were already impressed with his body of work. So the club, very, very impressed with Andrea Berta's work so far. And so am I, in fairness, to bring in 6 new signings before preseason, effectively before preseason, was very good. I really do think the next big test is sales. And some of it is very difficult, right? And, you know, we look at, I think a great example to look at is Chelsea. So we're all at the point now, right, where fan bases are like, okay, now we need to make sales. Okay, now Arsenal need to make sales to make maybe one final signing. Chelsea in the exact same boat. We need to make some sales, then we can go and get Xavi Simons. That's what the boat that they're in. Comes out today, a Fabrizio post today, immediately, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall to Everton, Ugachukwu to Burnley, I think, Chukwuemeka to Dortmund. Bosh, sales made. And Dewsbury-Hall to Everton, 25 million, plus a few million in potential add-ons. Basically what they paid for him a season ago. And he barely played last season. We don't do that. Now, one of the benefits that they've got is actually their wage structure. They put all of their players on low wages that are heavily incentivized, and that's helping them. You know, it makes it difficult for us when you've got like Martinelli on 200k a week, for example. But we do need to improve. We really do need to improve at getting these sales done. Anyone see Arteta's grey hairs increasing? Genuinely concerned it affects our aspirations. By the way, Arteta had grey hairs coming through last summer, and then throughout the season he didn't. I hate to say it, but I do believe Mikel Arteta is dyeing his hair. I'm going to say it. Unfortunately, I do believe he's dyeing his hair at this point. How much is Vieira worth? I would say like 25 mil, to be honest with you. I think realistically, we bought him for what, 35? Did we buy Vieira for 35? I think we bought him for 35, didn't we? And then, you know, he's had one poor season at Arsenal. Or did he have two? When did we buy him? Has he had 2 seasons at Arsenal or one? Just one, right? He had one. We've had him for 2 years, right? Or am I going mad? He's 25 years old. No, we've had him for 3 seasons. Jesus. Yeah. So we've had him for 3 seasons. We've had him for 3. He played 2 seasons for us and a season at Porto, yeah. So realistically, it's like this is the advantage right. This. When I say we don't sell players quickly enough, this is what I mean. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, they signed him. He was there for 1 season. He played a little bit, but Everton may look at it and go, well, if he was worth 30 million last summer, he played a bit for Chelsea, he's still 26, he's worth this amount now. We bought in Fabio Vieira. First season, wasn't that impressive. Didn't sell him. Second season, even less impressive. Didn't sell him. Then you send him out on loan for the 3rd season. So now we're at the point where, I don't even know, has he got 1 or 2 years left on his deal? He's probably got 2 years left on his deal. I assume at least there was an option for a 5th year. So he's probably got 2 years on his deal. He's had 3 relatively underwhelming seasons in a row. And that's where it's more difficult. So if we bought him for 35, did we buy him for 35? Did anyone answer that? 45. Was it 45? How much did we pay for Vieira? Did we pay 40? No, we didn't pay 45, did we? How much did Arsenal sign Fabio Vieira for? No, 35 million plus 5 million, and that's euros. So, 34 million including add-ons. So 34 million pounds including add-ons, 3 underwhelming seasons. Honestly, if we got 25 million quid back, I'd take it. If we got 25 million quid back on that, it covers his book value. I would take it. Yeah, I would take it. Whether we can do that or not, we'll see. He is still only 25. We've always been terrible at selling. Yeah, we have. It's our biggest weakness. And that is why it's Andrea Berta's biggest test. Because it's been our biggest weakness. The amount of talent and players at Chelsea means that they're also more likely to push for a move. So interest from clubs. Yeah, for sure. But Baxter, good to see you. You love to see it. But the reality is, if anything, that should make players at our club go for more. Because everyone knows Chelsea have to sell a bunch of players, right? Everyone knows Chelsea need to sell Raheem Sterling. Everyone knows Chelsea need to sell Nkunku. Everyone knows they need to sell, well, Disasi, really, but they still get good money for it. Because that should put teams in a strong position to negotiate. But I don't know. It's just annoying. Thoughts on PSG choosing Chevalier as their number 1? Also on that article which says Europe's top clubs prefer saving wages, having a top 10 keeper than big wages for a top 3 keeper. I'm not sure. I mean, David Raya's not on the biggest of wages. This by the way, I don't know how good Chevalier is as a goalkeeper, to be honest with you. I couldn't even tell you who they've signed him from. Who did he play for? Chevalier. Who did he? He played for Lille. I couldn't tell you how good he is, to be brutally honest with you. He is, however, 23 years old. So he is young. Up and coming, I assume. But you've got Donnarumma at the club. And I agree, by the way. I've always thought Donnarumma is not a good goalkeeper, which made the performances he put in against Arsenal all that more heartbreaking. He's done it twice as an England fan as well. He's done it. He did it against England in the Euros final, and he did it against Arsenal. Because normally when I see him, he's got massive mistakes in him. So I don't blame them for replacing him, to be honest. I mean, it's crazy. He's only 26 years old. He's had a tough paper round, as old Donnarumma. He just despises me. Yeah, it might be that. It might be. But yeah, no, I don't know. Interesting, I suppose. I wonder if Donnarumma will go anywhere, though. Do you think Madueke could be a great first-choice left winger for us if we don't sign a left winger this summer? I think he could. Well, I think he's going to have to. But do I think look, I've not seen enough of him at left wing. There are bits and pieces. I think he had a game against Everton at left wing for Chelsea where he looked decent. But he's not played there anywhere near enough for me to 100% believe that he could consistently perform at a top level off the left, which is why I want us to go and buy a left winger. Do I think he could outperform Martinelli and or Trossard there? Yeah, 100%. But that's because Martinelli and Trossard right now, for me, are well below the level that we need. What do you think of people moaning about the new third kit for being white? Personally, I don't mind. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's what I'll say. I don't get it. I'm wearing a white Arsenal shirt now. This is one of my favourite shirts. I think this is one of the nicest looking shirts. We've had white shirts previously. You know, I remember Cesc Fabregas wearing that white shirt with the maroon trim. It's off-white anyway. Yeah, it's off-white. And Spurs don't own the colour white. I actually think, by the way, if you get angry about it and you're like, no, white is Spurs' colour, you're giving Spurs way too much credit. They don't. It's not like us, where we are the red side of London. No one owns white. Fulham are just as big as Tottenham. I have no issue with us wearing white shirt. And actually, again, Tom Canton, I think it was today, said, if you go back, Arsenal used to wear white kits before yellow became a bit of a default kit for us. We used to wear white kits anyway. So, yeah. That Fabregas shirt was the year I was born, by the way. That makes me feel a bit sick. That's how unk you are. What can I say? Why do you think Martinelli's fallen off so much? He looked so good in 22-23. Do you think it was when he got injured against Brighton? I think the injury against Brighton maybe set him back a little bit. I think we don't have anywhere near as much space as we did back then. We don't play in the same way as we did back then. He rarely drifts centrally anymore, which is where I figure he's been at his best. But ultimately, and I have said this before, I don't think his game has improved. I don't think Martinelli has got worse, right? I don't think he's got worse. But I think everyone else around him has got better. I think Arsenal now are at a far higher level than we were in 22-23. And I know that season, especially the first half of the season, we were electric to watch. But I think we are actually a much better team now than we were then. And if you look at the development of Saka compared to Martinelli, yeah, there's 100%. Xhaka was a big miss for now. Yeah, 100%. Zinchenko and the way that Zinchenko drifted around massively benefited Martinelli. The way Jesus drifted around massively benefited Martinelli. 100%. From a tactical perspective, we do not maximize getting the most out of Martinelli. But equally, would you do that? Would you make it so that tactically you were trying to optimize Martinelli when I don't think his level has improved enough? I don't know. It's difficult. It's a difficult one. It wouldn't surprise me if he went to a lesser team that has more space and thrived again. But we just don't get it. Ben White is horrendous. Couldn't disagree more. Could not disagree more. I think Ben White is excellent. The women kit looks better in the third kit. Collar with buttons spoiled the men's third kit. I like the collar. I'm a big fan of that type of collar. I know some people aren't. By the way, I think the only women's kit that doesn't have the collar is the crop top one. Unless I'm wrong. But I think it's only the crop top that doesn't have the same collar. At this point, I reckon we should give Nelson another chance. We're still waiting to find out if he gets sold, in fairness. Sometimes when I'm alone, I think about the beardless Rory. Never coming back. Never coming back. Stop playing the horseshoe formation. Well, I don't think we will continue playing the horseshoe formation. We saw that against Spurs because all of the players were the same against Spurs as we've seen previously. Like, we lined up with Saka, Havertz. Was it Trossard or no, Martinelli, wasn't it? We lined up with the same attack. I'm not surprised. But again, I think when you bring in Gyökeres, you bring in Madueke, hopefully you bring in another attacker on top of that. I think we'll begin to be a lot more direct. What do you think the reaction to Madueke's debut in preseason will be? It'll be good. It'll be good. And this is not a slight at the people that don't go to games, right? It's a slight at a certain group of people who don't go to games. But at the stadium, everyone is behind the players, always. Like, unless it gets to an incredibly toxic state, like when Xhaka got booed off, right? Generally speaking, you saw it with Havertz when Havertz arrived. It was always the match-going fans that continued to sing his song, continued to try and lift him up. A lot of that noise is only online. And I have to say, it's not everyone that's online, right? It's a group that are online. Spurs parked the tin can bus. Yeah, they did. They did. I'm not calling you a plastic fan. I would never. Listen, if you've watched this channel long enough, you'll know I always stand up for the people that cannot or do not go to games. Always. I think Nani starts on Wednesday. I think it'll be too soon. If he's only just got back to training today, I think it'll be too soon. I think he might start Saturday. Part of it probably depends on whether or not Trossard's fit, in fairness. If Trossard's not fit, I don't think he'd start Martinelli both Wednesday and Saturday. So I feel we should try Waneri left wing. I agree. We should try Waneri left wing. I'm surprised we haven't. Especially surprised. Like I think I said it before. If the plan is for Madueke to be playing off the left wing as a left footer, I'm surprised we've not been trialing it with Waneri, even when Madueke wasn't there. But have to catch a flight across the pond to come to games. RIP Plastic. Yeah, no, it's so difficult. And I've always said, people that get up in the middle of the night, basically, to watch the games, that's the thing, right? Let's say you're someone that lives in the UK, you're fairly close to London, you go to like one game a year, and the other times you watch it on your sofa at like 3 p.m., 5 p.m. I think comparing that to someone who week in, week out is getting up at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., but then you sit there and say, well, I go to games, so I'm more of a fan. I think it's crazy. And the other thing, by the way, is money. I think I'm getting a cold, which is nice. It's money. It's so expensive. It's so expensive to go to games. Like, people can't afford it. Like, that's just factual. And I don't blame them. Even these friendly games, 40 quid a pop. So, and that's before you've traveled to London. If you need to travel to London, that's before you've got food. That's before you've got drink. It's mad. I want to know your opinion. I'm from Scotland. My friends call me a plastic, but I haven't missed a Prem game and Cup game in like 3 or 4 years, and I know most chants. I love Arsenal, my club. Yeah, I just don't buy into it. You're not a plastic. You're not a plastic. I live in Norway. Yeah, exactly. It makes it tough. It does make it tough. London Underground fares don't help. I mean, the Underground's not too bad. It's like, the Underground's like, what, a tenner? Caps out at like a tenner. Which, again, it's another tenner on top of what you're already paying. But Fab has reposted the Kivior story. Which one? Wait, let me see what old Fabrizio's doing. He's talking about Xavi Simons again as well. Chelsea always had exits as a priority before getting Xavi Simons' deal done, while talks with Leipzig remain advanced. Broja, João Felix, Ugachukwu, Dewsbury Hall, Mark Guiu. Yeah, they've just got so many players that they're getting out the door. It's annoying. All right, so he retweeted the understand Jakub Kivior's future remains open with several clubs keen on signing the centre-back. Arteta would prefer to keep Kivior, already rejected a proposal from Portugal in July. Yeah, maybe that's getting closer, or maybe it's just because another report came out backing it up. He does that quite a lot. It doesn't mean it's got closer, but if someone else makes an article about it, then he retweets his own to be like, I was here first. Weren't there first on Luke de Jong, though, were you, pal? When do you reckon Eze will start? I don't know. I'm not convinced we get Eze. And I think the people that are convinced we get Eze haven't been paying attention to Crystal Palace. I'll tell you now, the best example of Crystal Palace negotiating is that for the third consecutive year, teams are in for Mark Gahey. Newcastle back in for Mark Gahey again. At this point, he's got 1 year left on his deal. Palace value him at £50 million with 1 year left on his deal. Newcastle apparently are ready to come in with a 40 million bid again, and Palace are just going to say no. They are not an easy team to negotiate with. And if there was a release clause in his contract that was 60 million plus 8, that was what they valued him at. And I don't think they'll take less. So, look, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. But I really do think the Eze deal is way more difficult than people think it's going to be. Fair point, but surely we sign one more player at least. Who do you think it would be? Yeah, hopefully we do. I just don't know who it will be. That's why I've been talking about Lookman, because he is an available option that I think ticks a lot of boxes, and he's not too expensive. I think Atalanta would accept, I think, 45 million euros, which is like less than 40 million quid. So that's an option. Other than that, unless we go balls to the wall for Rodrigo, which I don't think we will, there aren't many options. That's the reality of it, you know? Anyway, look, this is going to be the end of the stream. I massively appreciate all of you for joining. We will have a quiz question for those who like to stay. But for those who don't, hope you have a fantastic evening. Please do like and subscribe before you jump off. I'd be massively grateful. And I'll catch you tomorrow for more content. But for those of you that are staying, the legends that like to stay for the quiz question, we will crack into one. Let's go for... Let's go for... Let's go for this one. No one's got it right with their guesses so far. Ashley Cole signed for Ashley Cole signed for Chelsea in August 2006 after a long, bitter saga with Arsenal. He earned the nickname Cashley from Arsenal fans. He was sold for $5 million plus which player from Chelsea? In short, when we sold Ashley Cole to Chelsea, they paid 5 million quid and gave us a player. Who was that player? Everyone's got it right, so I'm not even going to give you the multiple choice. The multiple choice, well, I am, clearly, because I've just started reading. The multiple choice was Gallas, Diarra, or Nasri. But the first person to get it correct was... It was Carl. It's William Gallas. Carl was first. Ross Lawman was second. Logical Nonsense was third. JS was fourth. And Camerooni was fifth. Congratulations, Carl. I've got a feeling that Ross Lawman was very close. In fact, Ross Lawman might have even been above on his own screen. But on my screen, Carl is the winner. So there you go. That was that. Congratulations. I appreciate you all for watching. As always, we will be back tomorrow. Goal given. Even Ross Lawman's given the goal. There you go. You love to see it. You'll love to see it. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. If you want to continue the Arsenal conversation, as always, the link down to the Discord below. But other than that, have a great evening. Enjoy whatever it is that you're up to. Unfortunately, there's no more cricket for us to enjoy. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. So on my screen, I'm above 4th and 5th. I know, but everyone said it so quickly on that one because it was a pretty bloody easy one, if we're honest. Anyway, enjoy your evenings. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.